I will demonstrate how to create a new database in SQL Server. I've started up the SQL Server Management Studio, and by default it doesn't connect to any instance. In SQL Server, instance is a set of processes that manage the databases like Oracle, but the difference is in SQL Server one instance can manage multiple databases. So you can have one instance managing 4 databases, another instance running a different version of SQL Server on the same machine managing another 4 databases. So when you select connect, you connect to a database engine. So you specify the server that you want to connect to. It could be the same PC, it could be the same desktop, it could be a different server anywhere on the network. So you specify the server name on the network. You specify how you want to authenticate. So I've set up my account, Hemant account, to have administrative privileges in the SQL Server instance. So I'm connecting to that here. So the database list is available once I connect to the instance, and the system databases are the default ones which have the data dictionary and the logs for all jobs and everything. So you never change anything in the system databases. What you do is when you're creating a custom database, you go to the database tab, select new database, right click, select new database, specify a database name, and you can see by default the database file initial size is 8 MB and the log file is 8 MB. The log is for the transaction logs like redo logs in Oracle. So I'm going to change this to 32 MB for the database file, leave the log to 8 MB. You can see the auto growth is defined by default, and you specify the location for the database file and the log file. By default the database will start with one database file and one log file. You can add more database files later. Technically there is no reason to add more log files unless you hit the limit of the log file size. So I'm going to specify the path for the database file. You can see that the default seeded path is not available. So I'm going to change it here and specify my database path to be here d:/SQL Server databases, and my log path also I'm going to specify d:/SQL Server transaction logs, and I'm going to specify the file name here. And that's it. I just click on add. If I want to add another database file, but right now I would not need to add another database file when I'm creating it, so I just remove this third entry. So I have one database file of 32 MB, one log file of 8 MB in this location, and these are the file names. So when I create a database, by default there is a schema called DBO which doesn't have any tables right now. So I can create a new table. Specify the data type for each table, for each column, sorry. So here is nvarchar 50 max, and then I can give the table name. So if I just click on save, I can specify a table name. When I go back to the tables and click on the refresh button here, F5, I can see dbo.employees. So the default schema is DBO. You can create schemas with different names. You can create multiple schemas. You can create user accounts. So all that is if I might cover in later videos. So this is how you create a new database. You just go to database tab, specify new database, give the database name. Then the logical name for the database file and the log file is automatically assigned. Specify the sizes of the files, specify the path. The default path might not work because it has not been created on your server. So you specify the path you want and the file name. So if I go to that path, I can see the database file has been created and the log file has been created. I did not specify an extension for the log file, so it's just like that. My database log. You can specify an extension, or you can let SQL Server also create an extension, but here there is no extension for the log file. So it's very simple creating a database, and you can see one SQL Server database instance, which is this one, can host multiple databases. These are all custom databases. HKC1 and MyNew database are the ones that I've created. These are databases that were created from the template that I installed when doing the SQL Server installation.